My journey to Australia. I came as a refugee. Refugee of war, Vietnam War, and then we came through by boat, and the journey took a few years, through a few refugee camps, and then in 1987, late 1987, I landed on Australian soil, which I'm very, very thankful to have the opportunity to be here.
This is Chocolate and Coffee Break, a compassionate proposition, a space to share stories, bridge divides, and spark meaningful connections. So grab your chocolate, pour your cuppa, and let's break down barriers, one conversation at a time. And now, here's your host, Andrea Putting.
And welcome to Chocolate and Coffee Break. And I hope you've got your chocolate and your favorite cuppa and you're ready to share with us for another episode. Today, my guest is Lynn Lee. Now, Lynn and I first connected through the Able Book Awards, where she was a judge and actually read one of my books and helped to get it to be to win an award, which is pretty cool. Anyway, since then, we've crossed paths at many different events and gatherings. And so I've been really looking forward to this chat and being able to find out more about Lynn. Lynn is CEO of WIT Ecosystems Australia and a master coach focused on empowering families and enabling leaders to lead with heart and impact. So welcome, Lynn, to Chocolate and Coffee Break.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for having me here. I'm
Yes,
delighted to be here, and I can't wait to have this conversation with you.
Fabulous. So I love to start my conversations with a heart-opening conversation starter from my little kit. And today's question is, what is it about your culture that you value most?
Oh, it has depth. But what it is about, as in my culture, it's quite a with my background, as you know, Andrea, I am a Vietnamese, but then raised in Australia. So when it comes to my culture, I am a mix of Australian as well as Vietnam, in terms of practice. So what I find is that it's diverse and it has depth, and it's allowed me to have many tools to think of different situations because I've got that breadth of experience with both cultures. Yeah. And as you know, in Australia, we're so diverse, we're so multicultural that we've also adopted cultures from other nationalities. So I can't say, pinpoint one, but I find when you ask, what is yours? When I reflect on mine, it is a combination of so many beautiful things from each different culture that's allowed me to navigate my life as well as to reflect.
So being able to embrace the multiculturalism and finding those things in each one of them that makes up a whole of who we are. It's a pretty powerful thing, isn't it? It gives us a lot of things that we can stand solid on, and I like that. So Lynn, you are Vietnamese and you were born in Vietnam. I'd love for you just to share that story of coming to Australia to start with.
My story coming to Australia.
Yes.
Yes, so it's a story in itself. My journey to Australia. I came as a refugee. Refugee of war, Vietnam War, and then we came through by boat, and the journey took a few years, through a few refugee camps, and then in 1987, late 1987, I landed on Australian soil, which I'm very, very thankful to have the opportunity to be here. Yeah.
Just briefly, Just so to give people a bit of an idea, what's a refugee camp like?
Oh, what's that like? So I came as a child. So I was I left Vietnam around about 10. Um, and so the camps I got to see three camps. One where we just stayed overnight, and then the second one was Cuckoo. It was we spent 4 months there. That one was just living in barracks right by the seashore. And as a child, I really enjoyed that because every day we got to we got to play on the beach, play with the shells and the sand. However, life, they're obviously without the routines of schooling and all the I guess the luxuries of life where with the comfortable beds and cars. It's just an island with sand, and behind us was the mountain, and in front of us was the sea. And sometimes the water. I mean, the memories that we have would be mum and the adults cooking dough, because we would have flour and canned food, and so they would make interesting things with the ingredients that were given. So they would fry the dough into different shapes and with sugar, and so that's the kind of food that we have. But the one incident, and I think there's a few times of that, which I remember vividly, is when the tide was high through the night and would come in and swept everything out,
Oh,
of our barracks, and the barracks are just they're just a frame with material, with the tarp sort of material,
yeah.
covered, yeah, so we can poke the holes through it and write words on it, and basically just to withstand. I think we weren't supposed to be there for 4 months. We were only supposed to be there for a few days, but then with organizations and all of that we were there for 4 months. And the so that was one where we woke up and got nothing left our thumbs. Everything was out on the shore, if there was still on the shore. Otherwise, we've lost everything. And just us digging holes in the sand was something that I remember. Adults, men fishing, and the other thing was drinking, because we were so close to the mountains, and we're in we're out with the wilderness, so to speak. It's right out there, and so we had to take a lot of medicine, and those really made us sick. And every time we have it, we would be sick for 2 days, like really, literally bedridden, because of the strong medication. So yes, and that's the kind of And then when we would have people from boats from other like islands coming over, and they would bring fresh food like bananas and vegetables, and we would exchange with them our canned food and our flour and things that we've got. So we would exchange for the fresh fruits and vegetables, and we often have to fight for them because they were so scarce. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a vivid memory that you have there, and I'm sure your parents' perspective would be quite different to that of a child. So, but it's interesting to hear that and to get your perspective of it. And then having to get into a boat, was that a bit scary to come?
Yes. So, in all, what I remember, so before I answer your question about the boat, I just know that when we were there on the island, yes, we were waiting for settlement. We like to have our, we know that, but the whole time we were there, what I remember was a lot of gratitude from everyone. So our boat had 71 people when we ended up on Cuckoo, but we left it with seven.
Wow.
So we lost one man. But even so, during that time, we were full of gratitude just to be safe on land, because of escaping through on boat. Even then, when you're on boats, we have beautiful memories because of that connection, that we were all on the same journey. We were all seeking for the same thing, and that belonging was really strong. And that was what I felt. I sensed the whole way through. I was not worried. I didn't sense that there was a lot of worries or anger or anything like that from the adults. It was just, we're going to wait here, and we are very grateful that we are safe.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
and that's something that we those of us who live here normally always resided here, we don't understand that experience of what it was like where you were, and that gratitude that you must have had just to be able to leave and to feel safe. So,
Yeah.
which is a lovely thing
Yes.
to hear.
Yes. So
So
it's
let's just jump into a commercial break and just see who's sponsoring us while I just have a nibble on my chocolate.
When I hit perimenopause, all I heard was doom and decline until I took a sacred pause and I went searching for women who were radiant after menopause, like Dr. Christiane Northrup, Dr. Vandana Shiva, and the late Dr. Gladys McGarry, still shining at 103. In this book, I share their stories and wisdom and the magic that menopause truly holds. 7 Wonders of Menopause is a sacred reminder. You're not ending, you're returning. Available at independent bookshops in Australia and Amazon around the world.
Did you know that only 30% of speakers are women and that only 13% of panels feature women? In order to change that, there is now a directory at womenspeakers.com.au where you can go and search for a speaker. We also have groups on Facebook and LinkedIn under the name Australian Women Speakers, where you can just go and post about your event and women will respond.
So, Lynn, I'd love to hear how that experience of being a refugee has shaped your life as an adult.
Wow. Wow. It's has well, we know, yeah, that our experiences shape our life. But of course, different experiences. Well, the same experience can give people different lessons, and what we draw from it individually. For me, I think it's freedom, gratitude, and the desire. And I'm going to get emotional. And every time I talk about, I've been sharing my stories at schools and, with people who are interested. And I think that desire from my parents, from my mother, and the group that she was with, in terms of planning our way of, I guess, seeking freedom the way we want to the way we see it. That desire helped her to do that, and she was very young. My mother, single mum, being able to, to bring all of us over here, plus relatives and other people who were seeking the same thing. She's passed away for a while now, and she passed away when I was 19. So, but through what I've observed, so I didn't get a lot of, in terms of sharing with her, in terms of her understanding or what her thoughts of that time. But from what I've observed living with her, is that that just want it, and now we have a very different life with with my children, having the opportunity to go to schools and being with people that I could never imagine that we could have. So having a strong desire and then just taking actions. And through that, gratitude. I've never heard her say anything negatively about Vietnam. It's just focusing on where we are going and have a gratitude and be grateful for what we are having in any moment that's taken us here. Yeah. So, and of course, that community that she's with. So she's left me with a lot of I guess I inherited from her the community and friendship that now their children are now my best friend. That group that we have. So and with those people that she was with, they were able to create what we have now today. That's last through ancient generations, and therefore our children. So my parents, my mother, with her community, and then we have us. We inherit that, and now our children are great friends, are good friends, and we know that they'll be there for each other. So it's last through 3 generations, and so that's what I take from, in terms of insights for me to take forward into my life is desire and gratitude and having a community.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And I know that your heritage and community is very important to you, and that you have this connection with the Vietnamese community internationally. And so I'd like to delve a little bit into that. What brought you into that feeling of, you know, we've talked about this before. It's the topic of my books. So that you've got to success, and that you've worked hard, as many refugees do. They work really hard to become successful in their countries. And then what happens from there?
Yes, so that's right. I'm one of those who worked really hard, and we got at a point where I thought I've got everything I wanted was when I had the question of, hang on, success, but I felt like there was something missing. So, and then as I went on searching for that missing piece, I found, I wanted happiness with success. Success alone doesn't mean success. It's no longer success. It's with, well, to me, it has to come with that happiness, with joy. And so I went searching, and I went, I deep dive into the world of personal development. And that's when I found the community in Vietnam teaching how to, in essence, at the end, I found, I realized I wasn't achieving success with wisdom. It was lacking. What is wisdom? And at that point, I didn't even know what wisdom looked like, but I knew that I wanted something else, something more. And it was, wisdom is to find life, it's just the simplicity of life, and joy, and trust, and also the lightness of life, so that we can keep going on our journey to pursue, success. Yes, and then I found the community in Vietnam, WIT Vietnam, where I've learned through them. That's where I learned wisdom looks like this, and there's information to wisdom, there's energy of wisdom, and the material of wisdom is when we can live a life with lots of joy, with lots of trust and lightness, and we can create the success or our desires of life. And so, like I said before, the desire for life, like my mother did, I wanted, I had the same drive, but then I didn't have the key to how to cultivate happiness along with my success. And so now I dare to step into, having this mission to bring that to the world. What I've now found for my life, that I can, just take my actions, and my children, that they are taking their own actions to pursue their dreams, to hold on to their desires. Like, they dare to do that. It's not having less, but having more, wanting more, dare to want more, and know that we can also have happiness and joy and trust along the way. Yes. And so I connected with the Vietnamese culture, with the Vietnamese community, and now we are, as a collective, we've joined with other countries such as Germany, such as Japan, and the US, and here in Australia, where we're together, we're bringing this message to the world, and the teachings.
Yeah, and I have had a bit of touch points with that community through the events that I've been to, and recently speaking at one of them. And they're just beautiful people who are very kind and passionate about the way that they show up in the world, and want to make a difference by giving and being the kind of people that I like to talk to on this show, who want to make a bold difference in the world by their love and generosity.
Yeah, just like your message, Andrea. I think that's what we're sharing. That message of, when you give, you get so much, and that's what I think. That's what everyone's doing. That we are able to. I think what we've in as a community, we can see what we the joy that we get, or the influence, or the whatever that it is that we experience through giving, and so that's what we do. We come together as a community to share this work with people, and we say, look, experience this work so that we can, journey through this life with joy, with lightness, with trust, and create what is lasting, a lasting family, a lasting community, a lasting company, or a lasting society, that with joy and love. Yeah.
Yeah. Your success on its own does not fulfill us. People get to this point, they're successful. It's like, well, what next? Because I've achieved everything. What next? So on that note, let's take another quick chocolate break and check out our sponsors. And while we're doing it, why not subscribe, like, and comment on the show?
Introducing 123 Read to Me. We give books to children who don't have books so they can succeed. Help us give away books to supported playgroups, kindergartens, schools, community events. Come and sort books. Donate money. $5 equals one book in the hand of a child. Because just one book a day creates clever, kind and confident kids. 123 Read to Me. If this interests you, let's talk.
You've ticked the boxes: career, commitments, calendar that's more packed than your pantry, but something's still missing. In Compassionate Purpose, Andrea Putting invites you to stop chasing busy and start living with intention. This book is about real fulfillment through small acts of compassion, purpose-driven service, and meaning that lasts. No pressure, no perfection, just purpose with heart. Compassionate Purpose, Discovering a Life of Fulfillment. Search for Andrea Putting on Amazon. Lynn, what changed for you when life stopped feeling like it was a struggle and that you had to strive for everything?
Oh, I love that question. Thank you, Andrea. Yes, so, after I went on to learn all these, personal development and then discovered about wisdom, it's wisdom level 3. So that's why WIT, W-I-T, wisdom 3, is wisdom level 3, where it allows me and people who come in touch with this philosophy, is that it allows me to balance. So when we get caught up with, chasing after our success, and then when things don't go our way, we lose, well, for me, I lost my balance and I couldn't regain it. All those thoughts of, what if, and, the scarcity of life. But when I learned how to regain balance through inner peace, through understanding that wisdom level 3 is really cultivating that inner happiness through what doesn't change over time or space. It does not change, which is the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know. Our will to know what we need to know at that moment. Our will to hear what we need to hear. And that will in that moment really set me balanced. It allowed me to go into balance. And from that balanced place, we now have a choice, a true choice of, okay, what is next for me? The next action, the next word, so my interaction with my children, my interaction with my husband, my interaction with people around me at that time changed completely, because I was able to regain control of my inner world, and therefore control what's going on outside me in terms of my action and words. So that really, really changed me, that inner peace. And it's the inner truth where I recognize, happiness comes from within. Happiness comes from within. And what is that from within? Is our inner truth. Our inner truth is what we have that doesn't change over time and space. And it is our will, like I said before, our will to see, our will to hear, our will to speak, and our will to know. That brings me back to my balance, which everyone has. Everyone has back to balance. And that's how I was able to regain my strength, my power, so to speak, my power to live my life the way I wanted. Yeah, so that's where the change really began, Andrea. And then everything else changed as I went back, and we went back to our life, went back to dreaming, to to aim high, to, the way we used to live our life, but it was with great effort. Now it's very little effort. I was able to, that's where I could set now 2 world records. In a squat, I can do 1,000 squat. I can run 21K. I could swim 7Ks. I could do all of these, which I never could have imagined doing. All I did was, helping my kids through school because that was what I could do. But after, so regaining that balance really, it's funny where you go within, where you pause for a moment, really give you the strength to then keep going and going further and having a lot more.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing, is to be able to connect in with that inner peace. And when I see people hurting, I just feel like, if you can find that inner peace, then that opens the door for that to start healing, and it's a very important thing.
And it's so simple. Everyone has it. We say it's within us. And it's so simple. Sometimes we look inside and we're like, what is it that I want? It's all our natures that are, and sometimes our ego. We can get confused that that's who we are. But it's not. It's just that will, because that is us. As in, that doesn't change over time or space. It's
Yes.
that will. We live with that. So very simple. If people out there, if your listeners are searching for, who am I from within, and what is it that from within that can give me happiness? It's not what you want. What you want, you need, because that directs your life. But the balance, to bring you back to balance so you can regain. It's like, you're weightlifting at a gym and you're tired. If you keep pushing, you won't be able to push too much longer. But if you put it down to regain your balance, you can pick it up and do a lot more than if you were to keep going. And that inner truth allows you to put it down gently, breathe, and pick it back up again and do as many as you like. Then put it down again, then pick it up again and do as many as you like. So you can keep going to build the muscles that you want, or to have whatever that you want in your life.
So what does success look like for you now?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so success for me is every moment I can cultivate that moment, to live, to take my action that is towards my desire, but also having joy, like loving whenever, loving all my pushing forward, and loving also my moments where I'm having a conversation with anyone, and seeing that I am benefiting the four important areas. I guess we call it our motivation: benefiting myself, benefiting my family, benefiting the community I'm with, and benefiting society. And if it ticks all those boxes for me, I know it's a must action, I must do, and I do it in love and joy, and just, it's that feeling of vigor in everything. Whether I'm cooking, I know that I'm benefiting my family. I'm looking after my health. I'm always looking after my health. That feeling of, where you're living it fully. There, I feel like that's success for me. Because if we take those actions, it's going to lead to impact. So success isn't what I'm having, but it's the impact that we can create through our moments, through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions. That's success. Yeah.
And that's beautiful, and it's very much in alignment with the whole philosophy of, well, chocolate and coffee break, and everything else that I've done comes down to that. So it's beautiful to hear that reflected in you. So we have a chocolate and coffee. We have a Brew the Change challenge this week about connection. And so invite someone who life experience is different from your own, and share a chocolate and coffee break with them. And here's a question to ask them: does success bring happiness to you? And find out what success means to them. Where do they find their joy? It can be an interesting conversation to open up and hear somebody else's story and someone else's experience of that. So it helps us, and it helps them to be seen and heard. So, Lynn, it's been a great pleasure chatting with you today. So I'd love for you to share how people can find out more about you or your community, where can they go?
So they can, I have a Facebook page, Lynn Lee, but if you can email to admin at WIT Ecosystems Australia, then you will be able to reach me with our books. So I've got my books here. That we're willing to send to you.
So thank you, Lynn, for coming along, and I hope everyone has enjoyed the show and learnt a little bit about success and happiness. So until next time, enjoy your chocolate, have a cuppa, and let love be the loudest voice.